Is Canada okay? 2.8 million for that. So a decent chunk of my viewers are from outside of Canada, mostly from the US, and I get a lot of comments saying things like, oh, Canada is just as bad as the US, or Canada is getting almost as bad as the US right now. And the situation in Canada is actually substantially worse than the US right now, and I can show it to you with data. And this is not a competition, it's just to provide some context for my other satirical videos. This chart is from FinancialSamurai.com, which is a very good finance blog that's been around for almost 15 years, and he was kind enough to let me use this in my video. This shows the increase in home prices over time in red versus the increase in income over time in gray. You can see here a peak in prices right before the 2008 financial crisis, and then there's a few years of decline, and then prices have been increasing faster than income for the past 10 years. That means if you live in the US and you're in your 20s, you've basically been seeing housing prices go up faster than your income for your entire adult life. And that is bad, and I don't want to minimize the struggle that young people in the US have had, but let me show you the same chart for Canada. This is what the trend in home prices looks like in Canada. We're not just in a housing bubble now, we're in the same bubble that the US was in 15 years ago that's still going on today in Canada. You see, we had a peak here at the same time as the US, but then prices just kept going up and up and up after that. So what's going on here? I'm not an expert, but I'll tell you what I think. In Canada, a lot of people view even their primary residence as an investment rather than as a place to live, and a lot of people are banking on the value in their home as their retirement plan. They don't have enough cash saved up to retire, but their plans to sell their home, downsize, and use all of that equity to fund their retirement. And that has made our governments at all levels and in all parties very, very afraid to let home prices drop. And every time it looks like housing prices might drop, they respond by giving people access to more debt. And they say this is to make housing more affordable, but actually it just continues to drive prices upward. 15 years ago, they changed mortgage insurance rules to allow banks to give longer mortgages to people with less money. And these mortgages were insured by the taxpayers, so banks could make money without taking on any risk. After that, we had over a decade of record low interest rates, which led to Canadians taking on record levels of household debt, which creates a lot of risk if interest rates rise. And now, interest rates are rising, and the government is making a Hail Mary attempt to save the situation by changing mortgage rules again. Normally in Canada, a mortgage is 25 years long, and if your interest rate goes up, your payments go up. But instead, they're allowing banks to keep the payment the same and increase the length of the mortgage. This is someone with a variable rate mortgage whose interest rate tripled in a year. And the length of their mortgage increased to 72.5 years, but the payment stays the same, which means they're going to be paying 3 times as much overall for the same house. Now obviously this is not sustainable, and eventually the whole thing's going to have to come crashing down. But no government wants to be the one in the hot seat when it finally does, so they're going to try and keep it going for as long as they can.